Welcome, everybody. Time again for another episode of WVU Marketing Communications Today. Coming to you live from the campus of West Virginia University. This is a syndicated show that sits squarely at the intersection of data-driven decision-making and marketing practices today. The biweekly program highlights emerging current trends impacting marketeers like you today. And we hear from leading professionals all around the world. Well, today we're privileged to have with us a guest host. And before we bring him on, let me at least tell you who he is and a bit about him. His name is Michael Lynch. He's a marketing professional with 20-plus years of experience in the gaming and hospitality industries. There's two divergent fields. Maybe not. Maybe we'll find out more. Michael recently served as the Director of Loyalty Marketing and Marketing Research at Let Us Entertain You Enterprises. Yes, that's what it sounds, folks. Let us, like the produce you eat, Let Us Entertain You Enterprises. He was there for 11 years. He teaches food service management courses at DePaul University and customer relationship management courses right here at West Virginia University. He's also working towards his PhD in hospitality management at Iowa State University. He's all over the country, and we're glad he's with us here today. Michael Lynch, welcome, sir.
Well, thank you very much. Couldn't be happier to be here.
How do you manage all those different teaching and programs and things? You've got multiple universities you're attached with. How do you even keep that straight?
Well, my running joke is that when people ask me about teaching at West Virginia, although I live in Chicago, I tell them, oh, yeah, I drive in every day.
Exactly. Right, exactly.
Yeah, but thank God for the internet, and thank God for the opportunity to be able to just do a lot of work and a lot of communication online. But yeah, I try to stay pretty busy.
Well, I love the market research firm Let Us Entertain You Enterprises. What a clever name. And I also have to ask you, because you said you do gaming and hospitality. I'm beginning to think maybe it's like casino gaming and not like online gaming.
No, that's absolutely correct. Yeah, I broke into the casino industry in about 1994 and did that for about a total of 14 years and then came back to the restaurant industry. But most of that time has all been spent in marketing, loyalty programs, players clubs, things like that.
Well, I think you've got a topic that I rarely hear anybody talk about, and yet it's clearly a big part of most marketing campaigns today, and that's loyalty marketing. How do you reward loyal customers? And I know you're going to talk about the evolution of loyalty programs as we move into 2019, but I'm just curious, are they still alive and well?
They are alive and well, and actually they're growing. And that's actually why I've decided to bring in our guest today, because there is a great evolution in loyalty programs as we reach the end of this decade. And it really is changing an awful lot from the focus and also from the effectiveness and the way that you monetize your results and things like that. So there really are a lot of changes going on, and one of the top organizations that are leading the way in the convenience store and restaurant sectors is Paytronix.
Okay. Well, I look forward to hearing more. I'll sit back and take notes.
Excellent. So, Terri, how are you doing today?
I'm good, Michael. How are you?
I'm doing just wonderfully. Terri, I looked over your bio, and it looks like you spent a fair amount of time in product management. What do you see as the key differences from moving from, let's say, mass marketing to loyalty marketing, where the focus might be more on the individual than on the masses?
Yeah, I think that's exactly it. You've kind of hit the nail on the head. So kind of brand product marketing, I think you are kind of thinking about who your overall audience is, and especially looking at it from a mass perspective, although you might have an ideal profile of kind of what that target customer is going to look like, and then you kind of tailor in your marketing strategy, your collateral, all of your content communications to that overall target customer or target segment. But I think loyalty marketing is different in that we're really trying to look at people as individuals within that overall segment. So you're kind of drilling down to another level. And really the only way to do that, to really start to think and understand people on an individual level, is to gather more information from them, to understand how they're engaging with your brand, so that you can kind of, really narrow it down and think about them as an individual and what their individual profile is.
Wow, that sounds really interesting. But tell me, I know that Paytronics has a lot of different clients, including national clients such as California Pizza Kitchen and Panera Bread. But could you just tell us a little bit about Paytronics and its focus?
Yeah, sure. So we've been around since 2001. We focus on guest engagement and tools within guest engagement. The industries that we play in today are the restaurant space. That's where we started. And then more recently, as you mentioned, we've kind of moved into convenience stores. So that's like the Thorntons and the Wawas and the Speedways of the world, although not all of those are our customers today, but hopefully soon. But we essentially provide, restaurants and convenience stores with the tool set to be able to go out there and create really successful guest engagement programs. So kind of going back to what we were talking about, really giving marketeers the tools to be able to go out there and kind of understand their guests, so collect all of the data on the guests and then utilize that to build very specific communications with them, targeted communications. And we do that through things like loyalty programs, rewards programs, a messaging platform, mobile apps, data analytics, and also gift card programs as well. So pretty broad spectrum that we cover.
Wonderful. As we were just mentioning before, I spent a fair amount of time in the casino industry. And while I was in the casino industry, it was really our goal to try to enroll as many members, as many of the players as we possibly could into our Players Club. I know when I transitioned into the restaurant industry and customer relationship marketing in the restaurant industry, we were very restrictive on who we wanted in our club, even to the point where we charged a fee, an enrollment fee for people to sign up. Do you think it's more important to focus on just a few key customers, or really is it better to try to get as many of your guests and customers enrolled as possible?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So ultimately, we're actually looking at kind of an initiative right now within our company, which is called K100, and that is know 100% of your guests. So I would definitely say we sway more towards knowing as many of your customers as possible. Because if you think about it, the more data that you've got on your customer base and the people that are coming in, the more you can kind of build those profiles and engage with them in an appropriate way that really is meeting the guests where they are, so that you can drive future visits into the restaurants or the convenience stores. Because ultimately what we're trying to do is drive transactions. And I think if you look at other industries as well, that's what people are trying to do. Like Amazon's a great example. If you look at Amazon, they know 100% of their customers. They probably know what you're going to buy before you buy it. They're making recommendations. They've got all your digital information and all of your order history. So they have a complete profile of you as a customer. And, obviously they're doing a pretty good job of that. They're probably one of the most successful companies around right now and are continuing to grow. So I think that's where, ultimately everyone should be striving to get to. And there's a lot of different strategies of how you can do that. Whether in the restaurant and C-store spaces, we kind of focus on loyalty programs are a number one way, and then we start to look at reservation platforms and online ordering platforms, and now you've got people, making kind of delivery orders. So each of these different channels, we're kind of collecting consumer information and just funneling it all into our database so that we have a really rich pool of data that we can utilize to then speak to our guests appropriately.
That sounds great. When you gather all that data, how do you manage that? What is the best way to move forward to really get to understand your customers at a very deep level, particularly when you have so many customers that you're dealing with?
Yeah, so I think that gets into kind of segmentation. So we traditionally have done something at Paytronics where we call it banding. So essentially, we'll kind of band people. So we'll look at the whole pool of data, and then we'll put people into segments. And we might have, bronze customers, and then we might have silver customers and gold customers and platinum customers. So obviously, the more we're going up, the platinum customers are going to be your most loyal customers. They're maybe the people that come in the most frequently, spend the most. And then you've got people who are in the bronze bucket who maybe don't come in at the same rate and maybe don't spend quite as much. So there's different measures of how we can do that, but we set parameters of how we want to target and segment different guests and then build these kind of banding segments for them. And then, the way we speak to our bronze customers and kind of the offers that we might send them is then very different to the way we would speak to our platinum customers, because a bronze customer might need a bigger nudge to come back in versus a platinum customer who's the most loyal and they're coming in all the time anyway. They probably don't need any kind of nudge, but they might just need a, hey, thanks for being a platinum customer, that kind of message. So that's kind of the way we would tackle it.
Excellent, Terri. Thank you. And how is it that you make sure that you are taking care of your best customers? And what sort of things should a marketing operation focus on to make sure that their best customers are really being taken care of and you're using your data to a maximal sort of way?
Yeah, I think that really comes down to the personalization side of it. So utilizing that data to really understand kind of how those guests interact with your brand, and then speaking to them on the right level. So, you should utilize that information. Like for me, I'm an example. I've got a young child. These days, I'm not going out for happy hours on Friday. If a restaurant chain sends me an offer for a happy hour on a Friday night, it might turn me off a little bit because that's not something I can do today. Whereas if they sent me, hey, this is a free kids meal, I might be more inclined to kind of go there and I've kind of got that connection with them, like, oh, okay, these people know me, they understand me, they've sent me that kind of personal offer, which is going to resonate much more. So I think that's a big piece of it, just making sure that you're using the data to then speak to people at the right level that's in line with how they're engaging with your brand.
Excellent, Terri. Well, thank you. I'll tell you what, let's take a little break now. We'll be right back with a word from our sponsor.
And that word's very simple. It's this. There is a university, I think you're aware of it by now, West Virginia University, that has an online data marketing communications program. That's right. There's an online program specifically designed to be the first graduate program of its kind in the country, focusing on strategic thinking, critical problem solving, and informed decision making. The Data Marketing Communications program at WVU prepares you for your career by learning those innovative strategies and tactics like the ones we're talking about today from experts and award-winning faculty all over the country, like our host. So if you want to learn more, if it sounds appealing to you, it's pretty simple. Go to DMC for Data Marketing Communications. That's dmc.wvu.edu and check out West Virginia University's unique Data Marketing Communications program. All right, with that, I'm eager to hear. Can I ask you guys a question here before you jump back in? My mind's racing here. Is loyalty program, I know the airlines expanded and then it seemed like they sort of contracted it. They were giving away too much stuff. And then there was some concern about if you're giving away too big of a loyalty programs like free flights, should people be reporting this as free income? Any of that kind of floating around in the loyalty world? Or are people scaling back the size of what they're offering? And are they ever worried that you're giving away something that has some value that has to be claimed?
Terri, if you don't mind, I'll take first shot at this. And then I'll let you maybe even talk about some of the taxation issues that I know Paytronics was just talking about this week. What the airlines found is that rewarding somebody in the same currency as someone was earning the rewards was not always the best idea. So, for example, if you were earning rewards by flying an awful lot, there's a chance that you might not want to fly again as your reward. So many organizations, be it restaurants, hotels, airlines, had to find other ways of incenting their guests, incenting their customers, and rewarding their customers to really keep them engaged and activated. There are very specific accounting rules that go along with how those dollars are handled, and I know that there have, in the past, been a few IRS rulings that had to do with whether a business person, if they are using a business account to, let's say, buy airline tickets, pay for hotels, etc., how they have to handle those rewards and the value of those rewards. Terri, would you want to touch just a little bit on what your boss and Andrew was talking about just this week?
Yeah, sure. So we did a webinar. So we do a lot of webinars here at Paytronics, and we did one just this week with our president, Andrew Robbins, and we were talking about the new revenue recognition rules and specifically how that relates to loyalty accounting. But essentially, there is a new set of rules that are coming out in 2019, which everyone will have to abide by, and it's really around how you recognize revenue from an accounting perspective. So it's really thinking about, if we offer something like a buy 9 get 1 free on coffees, we're kind of creating this upfront commitment with a customer that they're agreeing to and we're agreeing to, and as a result of that, the new laws are kind of stipulating that in the past, where we used to kind of recognize the revenue straight away, we now need to defer it kind of over the period of the contract with that customer. So that's a very high-level view. We do have a very specific webinar on it on our website, Paytronics.com, if anyone was interested in kind of learning more about that subject in particular.
Well, perfect. But we are back now, and I am here with Terri Burton. Terri leads the contact marketing team at Paytronix, which is a company that specializes in offering technology and support for organizations interested in having a powerful customer relationship management program. Discussions that I used to get into with my bosses was really how to take care of my customers and really what tier I should focus on. Very often companies get lost in taking the best care of their best customers and possibly ignoring the rest, or what I consider to be even a worse sin, which is taking better care of new customers than existing customers. Exactly what would you suggest in the best way to use your group of customers, your data, to really grow sales? Is it the entry customers, the lower end customers, the high end customers, or exactly who?
Yeah, so you're kind of exactly right. We definitely see people, clients fall prey of designing a loyalty program that is going to be designed towards their best customers. So everyone thinks, what's going to drive those people in, but that's really the wrong people to design it for, because those people are not going to move the needle for you. Those people are the most loyal customers. They are going to be a member of your program and continue to come in regardless of kind of what you do with them on top of kind of the brand experience you already give them. The people you really want to focus on are actually what we would determine as the silvers. So earlier when we were talking about kind of the different segments and bands, we talked about bronze, silver, gold, and platinum. So the silvers can kind of be defined as your average guest. They're the people that you really want to think about, when you're kind of designing any type of loyalty program, because they're the people that can really move the needle. They're the ones that we can ultimately turn into a top loyalty member, a gold member. So they're really the ones that at least when we're designing programs, we would 100% encourage people to focus on.
Okay. I noticed that there are, no matter where you go, there always seems to be a company that has a loyalty program. Do you think that all companies, all organizations should have loyalty programs? Or, what is it that makes a company special that would make it profitable, be able for them to monetize having a loyalty program?
Yeah, so I don't necessarily think everybody needs a traditional loyalty program as such, but I think all companies need to think about a guest engagement program. And what I mean by that is they need a way to be able to track customer data and really get an understanding of who their guests are. So essentially taking customers who might be unknown and making them into known guests. So I think everyone should have, and everyone should be thinking about, a way to ultimately do that. And it doesn't necessarily need to be through a traditional loyalty program. There's other ways that you can collect data and kind of, today with big data and data analytics, we can kind of pool data from lots of different sources, bring it into a central database and kind of massage and analyze that data so that we are, creating an overall profile of who our guests are. So I think capturing that data, knowing who your customers are, is absolutely something everybody should be doing, because if you're not doing it, your competitor is doing it for sure.
Sure. What are some of the new technologies that might be on the horizon? I hear things about beacon technology and geofencing and things like that. How do you think those things are going to affect loyalty marketing going forward?
Yeah, so beacon, kind of geofencing, that's kind of been around for a little while now. I think they will continue to grow in popularity. We've definitely seen, so this is the idea of you kind of go into a location, or even you go into a radius around a location of a particular store, and through your mobile device and GPS, you can kind of pick someone up and say, okay, they're within the radius, let's ping them some kind of communication that's going to drive their behavior. And you can make those extremely relevant. And because it's tied to someone's behavior in real time, we've seen kind of great behavior, rates of sending those kind of messages. So that's definitely something I see, growing and being used in more in the future. I think another piece that we've seen this year, and I think it will continue into next year, is the mobile payment space. So the use of Google Pay and Apple Pay is something we focused on a lot this year. I think the mobile payment market is only going to grow kind of globally. We've recently kind of had a lot of conversations with Apple and Google, and they're obviously in agreement. But the idea of being able to use your digital, your smartphone to make a payment and really not even leave the house, leave the house with just your phone in your pocket, is definitely something people will be doing in the future. And even on the convenience store side, kind of what we're seeing right now is that there's the mobile payment option at the pump, and even some companies are building into their cars the ability to pay via Apple Pay through their vehicle at the pump. So it's just this whole idea of, I think all of these ideas of convenience, because that's the shift that we're seeing ultimately. Like people are just living busier lives. They just need more convenience, and technology is kind of really enabling that for people.
Wow, that sounds really, really interesting there, Terri. It sounds to me like technology is really going to have a very large effect on the way not only customers interact with companies, but also the offers that companies can give. Can you think of an example of how any company right now is using beacon technology or geofencing to give out offers or send out messages or offers to their customers?
Yeah, I mean, we see, California Pizza Kitchen is doing a lot of that. That's one company that we're working with. They've done a really great job of kind of utilizing geofencing to kind of set radiuses around their stores, and then it might be, say you're in the area and it's kind of lunchtime, they'll pick up on that. They know that you're right around the corner from a California Pizza Kitchen, and they'll kind of ping an offer out that says, hey, like, you're in the area, come and stop by for lunch, and oh, by the way, you've got a free side on us today. So that's just, you're kind of top of mind, and it's very relevant to someone when they're probably thinking about having lunch. So they're having a lot of success with that right now.
Well, I'll tell you, I really want to thank you for doing just such a wonderful job and being with us today here, Terri. Could you tell us a little bit about how to contact Paytronics, maybe how to contact you, and maybe some of the upcoming webinars that people might be interested in?
Yeah, absolutely. So I appreciate the time. Thank you for having me, Michael. If anyone wants to find out more information about Paytronics, they can go to paytronics.com. That's Paytronix. And if you have any questions for me specifically, you can reach out to me. My email is tburton, TBURTON, @paytronics.com. And we host a webinar a week, lots of great content. You can go on our website and find all of those on demand. We'll actually be doing one next week on 2018 trends and what to take forward and what to leave behind. And then there'll be a host of other ones coming up in the new year as well.
Yeah, I noticed that not only do you do your webinars on companies that you deal with and what really is pertinent to you, but one of the things I really appreciate about your webinars is that you also do webinars about companies that aren't necessarily under the Paytronics umbrella, but who also are doing very important, very interesting things when it comes to the loyalty space.
Yeah, we do. So we actually did one today on Chick-fil-A, and how they're taking an innovative approach to loyalty. So that's a good one. We like to use our own experiences as being a member of a particular program and just give our take on it. So we've done that for a number of programs like Starbucks and Dunkin' Donuts and Chick-fil-A, Domino's.
Okay. So perfect, Terri. Perfect, Terri. Thank you so much. We really appreciate people tuning in to the podcast today. I hope all of you have a great day. And again, thank you for joining us.
You've been listening to another episode of WVU Radio right here on the Funnel Radio Network for at-work listeners like you.